All right, before we get started with example 2, we're going to go over some more vocabulary. So we talked about a ratio, right? A ratio is a comparison of two quantities by division. And we talked about 3 different ways we could write that. 1 to 7, 1 to 7, or 1 to 7, like that. But for the most part, we're using the fractional. We're solving problems using the ratio in the form of a fraction. Then we talked about a proportion, which was basically a statement that shows 2 ratios being equivalent, right? So that's a proportion. Now we're going to move on to a rate. A rate is the same thing as a ratio, okay, of 2 quantities with different units. Okay, so it has different units. That is a rate, such as 34 miles in 2 gallons. If you can see here, okay, we have a ratio, 34 over 2, right? It's written in the form of the fraction, but it has 2 different units, miles and gallons. So rates are usually written as unit rates, okay? So we talked about rates, a ratio of 2 quantities with different units, but it says it's usually written as a unit rate, so now we gotta discuss what a unit rate is. A unit rate is a rate with a second quantity of 1 unit. So a unit rate is the second quantity has 1 unit, such as 17 miles per gallon, or in 1 gallon. A lot of times they say 17 miles per gallon, right? But that means per 1 gallon. And you can convert any rate to a unit rate. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be finding unit rates for example 2 here. So let's go ahead and look at a problem. It says Takura Kobayashi of Japan ate 53.5 hot dogs in 12 minutes to win a contest. Find the unit rate in hot dogs per minute. Round to the nearest hundredth. Okay, great. So that's a lot of hot dogs, 53.5 hot dogs in 12 minutes. Okay, so we have 53.5 hot dogs in 12 minutes. Okay, so this would be an example of a rate because it's written as a ratio and it has 2 different units. But what we want is we want it in a unit rate. So that means that we need this number to become a 1. So how do we make this number a 1? Well, you have to divide it by 12. So we're going to divide this bottom part by 12, and then whatever we do to the bottom, we're going to have to do it to the top. So we're going to end up with 12 divided by 12 is 1. So we're going to end up with 1 minute. But we have to do 53.5 divided by 12. So I'm going to go over here, 53.5. I'm going to divide that by 12. Okay, 12 doesn't go into 5, but 12 goes into 53 4 times. 4 times 2 would be 8. 4 times 1 is 4. Then we subtract. I need to borrow. That's going to be a 4. 13 take away 8 is 5. And then I drop this down here. And I'm going to put my decimal right there. 12 goes into 55 4 times again. And then we just did this. 4 times 12 is 48. Oh, that was supposed to be a subtraction sign. That kind of went crazy. Okay, we have to borrow again. The 5 is not big enough, right? And we get 7. This is a 4. 4 take away 4 is 0. And then we're going to add a 0 and drop it down. 12 goes into 70. Well, I know 12 times 5 is 60. And that would mean that 12 times 6 would be 72. So it's going to go in 5 times. And then 5 times 12 is 60. We subtract. We get 0, 1, and then we got to drop it down again. Drop this 0 down. So now we have 100. So 12 goes into 100. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to say it's going to go in Maybe, would it be 9 times? Probably not 9, probably more like 8. Let me figure out what 12 times 8 is. That's 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 1 is 8 plus 1 is 96. Yeah, so 8 goes in 8 times, and this is 96. And then you subtract and you get 4, and you can keep dropping down zeros and keep going. But what this says is it says round to the nearest hundredth. So if I have my answer here, 4.458, this is the tenths, this is the hundredth. So to round to the nearest hundredth, I just need to figure out what one number is to the right of the hundredths place, which is the thousandths place, right? So I don't need to keep going. I could keep going, and I don't know how long this is going to go, right? But the most efficient is just to do this next one. And is this going to round this 5 up to 6, or is it going to make it stay the same? Well, if it's over 5, it's 5 or over, then it rounds it up, and it's 5 or over, it's 8. So that means that it's going to round up to 4.45 hot dogs. No, 4.6, it rounds up to 4.6 hot dogs. So we could write this as a unit rate as 4.46 hot dogs. And then they use this for per. That means per minute, which just means in 1 minute. So 4.46 hot dogs per minute. I don't even know if I can eat 1 hot dog in a minute. That is crazy. So that would be the unit rate. Okay, let's go ahead and try this again. So it says Corey earns $52.50 in 7 hours. Find the unit rate in dollars per hour. Okay, so it wants dollars per hour. And it says 52.5 in 7 hours. So it's going to be 52.50 dollars in 7 hours. So this is our rate, right? But we need to make it a unit rate. So we need this to be, the number on the bottom to be a 1. So we can only make it a 1 by dividing by 7, because 7 divided by 7 is 1, right? So we got to divide whatever we do to the bottom, we got to do the top. So we end up with 1 hour. And then we just need to figure out what 52, we're going to have money. Yeah, we got to divide that. So I'm going to go over here, 52.50 divided by 7. 7 doesn't go into 5, but it does go into 52. How many times? I'm going to say 7 times. 7 times 7 is 49. And then we subtract. Got to borrow. That 2 is not big enough. That's a 3. Makes that a 4. 4 take away 4 is 0. We move this decimal up. And then we drop that down. Ooh, that's nice. 7 goes into 35. 5 times. 5 times 7 is 35. So no remainder. And you drop down that 0. 7 doesn't go into 0. It goes in 0 times. So boom, there we have it. $7.50 in 1 hour. So you could say $7.50 per hour, like that. That would be the unit rate. Okay, on to the next one here. It says Ralph Law of Germany flipped a pancake 460 times in 122 seconds. That is amazing. I don't even know how that's possible. To set the world record. Find the unit rate in flips per second. Round to the nearest hundredth. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and set up our rate. Our rate is here for 416. Find the unit flips per second. So this is flips per second. Flips per second. So flips goes on top. Excuse me. And seconds goes on the bottom, 120 seconds. Okay. So this is a rate. It has different units. It has a ratio, but we need a unit rate. So we need to make this a 1. So we're going to divide the bottom and the top by 120. Then what are we going to do? Yeah, 120 divided by 120 is just equal to 1 second. Ooh. Then we just need to do this, 416 divided by 120. Oh, and then we have to round it to the nearest hundredth. Okay, here we go. So 416, we're going to divide that by 120. Okay, does 120 go into 4? No. Does it go into 41? No. Does it go into 416? Yes. How many times? Okay, let's think about that. Okay, I know it doesn't go in 4 times, so yeah, 4 would just be way too big. It'd be like 480 or something. So it's going to go in 3 times, and 3 times 0 is 0, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 1 is 3, and then we subtract, so that's 6, we have to borrow, and that's 5. Yeah, put our decimal, and now we have a remainder, so we need to bring that down, and we have 560. So 120 goes into 560 how many times? Okay, I think it goes in 4 times, because 4 times, we just talked about it, 4 times 120 is 480. And that's, yeah, that's going to be it. What did I just say, 4? Did I just say 4? I think I just said 4. Yeah, 480. Okay, and then 4 times 120 would be 480. Then we subtract. We need to borrow. And 16 take away 8 is 8. And then we gotta, it's just gonna be a big one. Okay, and we drop the 0 down, 800. Oh, how many times does 120 go into 800? Okay, so it doesn't go in 8. 8's too big, right? Would it go in 7 times? I almost think 7 is too big, because 7 times 100 is 700, and then 7 times 20 would be 140. So that would put you over 800. So I think it has to be 6. So it has to go in 6 times, and then we do the multiplication. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 2 is 12, right? The 2 carry the 1. 6 times 1 is 6 plus 1 is 7. Ooh, this is about to be very nice, I think. Maybe. We'll see. And then we subtract 0, take away 0, 0. Then we have to, 10 take away 2 is 8. That's a 7. Boom. And then we have to add a 0, go down, and it's 800 again. All right, so we're going to have to make this a 6 again. I think this is going to be about to be repeating. And so it's just going to keep repeating, which is wonderful because we just need to round to the nearest hundredth. So we have tenths, hundredths here, which means we need to just go to this place, which is 6. It's above a 5, or it's 5 or above, so it means it's going to round that up to a 7. So 3.47 flips. I don't even know how can you do that? 3.5 flips, basically 3.5 flips in 1 second. Must have just have to be like throw it up in the air and there's a bunch of flips happening all at the same time. That's the only way. I don't know. That's just insane. Okay, so anyways, so we're going to rewrite this as the unit rate of 3.47 flips per second, like that. All right, awesome. So we'll see in a little bit for example 3.